Hi, we're Group 3. Today our topic we're covering the aircraft leasing. Here are the contents that will be in today's presentation. First, let me introduce you what is aircraft leasing. Aircraft leasing is a lease or rental aircraft through leasing via lease agreements specifying payment schedules, maintenance responsibility, and end of lease options. Here are different types of aircraft leasing. First, operating lease are short-term lease agreements, typically from 2 to 10 years, where the lease does not take the ownership. The lessor handles maintenance and insurance. The lease can return the aircraft at lease end with no further obligations. Financial leases are long-term commitments from 10 to 20 years with fixed payment schedules, where the leaseholder assumes the maintenance and insurance responsibility, often has an option to purchase the aircraft at a predetermined price at the lease end. Dry lease only supply the aircraft with no additional services, require the lessee to manage all operational aspects, and a commonly used word the lessee has established operational capability for activities like aircraft storage and repositioning. Wet leases are typically short-term from 1 month to 2 years, where the lessor provided aircraft crew maintenance and insurance, where the lessee only supply fuel and handles operational plannings, and often used during peak season and medium capacity needs. Here are the two industry leaders. Both of them are located in Ireland.
Okay, I will talk about decision making of aircraft leasing. A net present value analysis would be the most common way to do evaluation. We compare the net present value of buying and leasing and we choose the bigger figure one. But if we dive into this topic in detail, by simply look at the net present value is not enough. For example, there's actually a cash inflow for buying an aircraft. And it could be a tax rebate from depreciation in the future. And so apart from looking at the net present value, we also need to consider the net advantage to lease. And by definition, when NAL is starting to zero, we will go for leasing. There's actually has its limitation of net present value analysis because net present value analysis assume a stable forecast and may undervalue flexibility in dynamic aviation. For example, there's drop in demand, and airline, of course, want to cut off all cost-related activity. And in this situation, owning an aircraft might not be a favorable consideration option. So if net present value favor leasing under higher certainty, it may signal flexibility as a strategic advantage.
My name is Rahel, and I'll be talking about the importance of leases. First of all, leasing helps in preservation of capital and improving liquidity. Aircrafts are very expensive. They cost millions of dollars. So instead of an airline buying an aircraft, it can lease, pay a manageable amount of rent over a period of time, and deploy the capital in high return activities such as marketing and customer service. And secondly, it can help in improving the key financial ratios, such as ROA and debt to equity ratios, which are key financial ratios. This happens because leased aircraft does not appear as an asset or debt in the balance sheet. Improving the financial ratios can make a company look attractive to the investors. Thirdly, leasing allows risk transfer. The value of an aircraft in the market can change due to various reasons, such as advancement of technology. So leasing prevents the company from facing the risk of depreciation of assets, of the aircraft asset. And last but not least, leasing enables an airline to be flexible and agile. This means an airline can change its fleet size depending on the demand of the market. And it can also allow an airline to access new aircraft, which are fuel efficient and also more comfortable to the passengers.
Risks of aircraft leasing. Well, we mentioned some of why we should do aircraft leasing, but what are the two main risks of aircraft leasing? Well, first, there is the financial and market risk. Due to market fluctuations, the lease rates could drop due to reduced demand or oversupply. There is secondly a credit risk where airlines could go bankrupt due to defaulting on lease payments. Thirdly, we have the residual value risk where the aircraft sale value could decline much more faster than expected. And finally, there is a current and interest rate risk. Lease payments could be affected by the exchange rate or even the rate changes. Then we have the second is the operational and legal risk, which is the maintenance risk if there is aircraft is returned in a poor condition. There's a regulatory risk in some countries for repossession of the aircraft. And thirdly, there's a geopolitical risk due to political instabilities. And finally, technological obsolescence, which could cause a risk of where the older leased aircraft is no more in demand. So in summary, we have discussed what is aircraft leasing, the renting of aircraft between lessor and lessee, the types of leasing, the four types: operating, financial, dry, and the wet lease, and the best time to lease, and the benefits and risks of leasing. That's all from group 3 today, and these are our list of references. Thank you.